Phil Walker Harding, he knows how to take a game, a concept, and then just strip it down to it's just like super streamlined. And this does that.
Welcome to Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples, a channel of conversation and board games.
Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples. Today on the channel, we are checking out Museum Suspects, a short little deduction game in which you will be trying to figure out which thief or thieves has stolen something from a museum, or maybe the thief has already fled the case, and you got to figure that out too. Today we are looking at a small little deduction game. It's got some bluffing and it's got some betting in it. It's from Phil Walker Harding and Blue Orange Games. We're looking at Museum Suspects. Final forecast coming up. First, cue the thunder. So the radar overview for Museum Suspects. A game in which you'll investigate, bluff, and bet, ages 8 and up for 2 to 4 players, looks like this. Each game there will be a randomized setup of 16 characters that will be suspects in this caper in the museum. Okay, so you have a whole bunch of different suspects. You'll be using 16 of them each game. You'll also use only 8 of these investigation tokens or investigation cards, which will eliminate different things like maybe the suspect is not in this column. So you'll be using a variety or a different setup each time. Each player will also get a little notebook. They will get a pencil. They'll get a color, A, B, C, or D. A, B, C, or D. There we go. And then they will get 12 tokens in that same color. This game is played over 6 rounds, and on each turn, you'll get 6 turns in the game. Each turn, you will be looking at one of the investigation clues. You will be then marking in your little book what you saw and who you've eliminated, and then you're going to bet as to who do you think the suspect is. So there could be one suspect who stole whatever it is from the museum. There could be multiple thieves, or there could be no thieves, and if there's ever no thieves, that means they've already escaped. Okay, so let's just show you how a couple of these turns go. Let's say I am A, so I would be the starting player. I would look at one of these locations. So let's say I look at this one up here. I would secretly look at this and see, okay, so the suspect is not a lizard. So I put this down. I would take my notebook, and now I would cross off all of the lizards to say that would be not who the suspect is. So there. So let's go through lizard here. Where lizard, lizard, lizard. There we go. Okay, so then that would be the first part of my turn. I would then have to put one of my tokens here showing that I've been there and what value I want it to be. So if I put a 2 there, then an opponent cannot go there and look at that clue unless they put a 2 or higher. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to bet. Who do I think it is? Well, you know what? I'm going to bet it's this character, Holly. I'm going to put one of my tokens face down. And then it would be my opponent's turn, and they would go and they would look at this one and put a 3. Okay, back to, then they would also bet, and they're going to put 1 here. Come back to me, and I'm going to do it again. Okay, so they don't have a camera around their neck. So let's, once again, camera. Cross that off just so I don't forget what I saw. Camera. Well, Poppy was already eliminated last round, so that's not going to help me. Dixie, Buck. Let's flip that around there. Camera, Bob. Okay, so as you see, after a few rounds, you're going to be narrowing it down. So you may want to then bet for the same character, or maybe I want to throw someone off. First, I would have to say, this is the one I looked at, camera. I'm going to put a 5 there because maybe I want to bluff my opponent, say, this is a very valuable clue, and for you to be able to see it, you need to either put a 5 or a 6. So I can kind of fleece it out in that regard, and I'm going to put it on, not Jack, because he was eliminated last time. So I'm going to put it on Felix. So again, you keep going, and, player 2 would go, and then they would bet, and back to me 3, and I bet on this one. Let's just run this whole thing through. There we go. For me to go here, I need a 6. There we go. And so you see, you would be going to 6 out of these 8, unless you don't use your tokens properly. At that point, you would be kind of hooped, because if you put all your high tokens out here and other people put their high tokens on the outside, you can't then investigate. So the game would end after 6 rounds. You'd be using all of your tokens, and then you would go through all these cards, and you would then flip over and eliminate everybody to see who won. So this is saying blue. So let's see who in fact the thief was. Any tokens that were on the card are then eliminated or just excused. You take them off. There's that. I will say this. I've sleeved these little cards because they're very thin. They're not linen finish. And if you would have any of them bend, it would just ruin the game. So that's why I've sleeved my cards even on such a small little game here. So these are all eliminated. What's this one? Of course, this is the lizard. Been there. It'll get a little messy after you do this, because there's going to be tokens and stuff all over the place. That's eliminated that. Okay, this eliminates. I will say this. I shouldn't have had 2 of these. That's my mistake. Shouldn't have had 2 animal ones. Bad setup, Brent. Bad setup. And none in there. So in this case, Ben and Capone matching. They would be the suspects. And then you would count up, flip over the tokens, and whoever has the highest sum. So in this case, me had 0 and player 2 had 7. But when there's also multiple, each one of them you get, or you guess correctly, you get a victory point. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So player 2 would score 9, I would score 0, and that is how you play Museum Suspects. As mentioned, each game is going to be different because you have 16 characters, and you have 16, or not 16, you have 4 of each type. So each setup is going to be randomized, and there you have it. I should also say that anytime you've eliminated everybody when you're playing the game or playing around and you have nobody to bet on, you would be putting your tokens on the exit, saying they've already escaped. So if these guys would have been eliminated, then we would look at whoever tokens are on the exit, and you add up those points. And whoever has the most points is the winner. Now let's check out the final forecast. So the final forecast for Museum Suspects, a small little deduction betting / bluffing game from Blue Orange Games. Phil Walker Harding, of course, the dude is a genius. From Barron Park to Gizmos to Imhotep to Sushi Go, the guy has just a laundry list of just accolades and fantastic game designs. And I have to say, let's start with the artwork. The artwork, it's quirky. It's got all these little shady characters that any one of them could be the thief, and any one of them could be innocent. They're just cute little critters, and the artwork's cool. The little notepads, I think that's cool. You close them up. You put your pencil on there when you're, you're not doing your investigating or eliminating. Production in this, it's pretty good. Those cards, the investigation cards, they are like super, super thin. I almost said paper thin, which would be a little ironic, but they're thin. They're not linen finish, so I've sleeved mine because if any of them get a little bend in them or anything like that, it'll kind of break the game. So those could have been a little thicker cardstock, but production for this, it's a small little game, same size as King Domino from the same company, Blue Orange Games. But Phil Walker Harding, he knows how to take a game, a concept, and then just strip it down to it's just like super streamlined. And this does that. This plays 15, maybe 20 minutes. You get 6 turns. So in a game, you're going to see 6 out of the 8 investigation cards. Unless you play your tokens wrong, you won't even be able to see 6 out of the 8. But, turns are quick. There's only 6 of them. So it's kind of in and out quite quickly. I loved Clue back in the day. I loved trying to figure out who done it. You're going to different rooms, you're rolling ones, and you're losing. This is kind of the same, but there's no dice movement, and so you don't have to worry about, are you rolling ones, are you rolling sixes, or anything like that. On your turn, you're just looking at some evidence, and then you're betting as to who you think is the culprit or culprits, or maybe they've escaped already. I love the whole betting aspect, I love the whole bluffing aspect. When you're the first one to go to an investigation card, and you look at it, and then you decide, should I put my 6 on there? Of course, I can't bid 6 to get 6 points at the end, but I could really box some people out so that they don't get specific information. More often than not, you're going to eliminate anywhere from 3 to 5 characters. With the majority of it, you're going to eliminate 25% in the first couple turns. But I like that whole bluffing aspect of it. You're not necessarily bluffing as who you think it is when you're doing your whole bet. You're kind of bluffing when you're boxing people out with those investigation tiles or investigation cards. So I really like that. And of course, you're betting. You want to use your 6s and your 5s and your 6s to bet so that you get the most points. But then again, you need to keep those in case someone puts a 5 or 6 on those investigation tiles. So it's got this nice little balance. And I know I enjoy that. 6 turns, it's pretty quick. And so for some people, it may go too quick. You won't see all the information, and you'll have to do some betting. Like, you have to do that in general, but you gotta do I split it on 2 people or just all on one? I don't have all the information. Should I just, load up on one specific character, or do I split my bets between the 2? Because if it is 2 different people or 3 different people, then I get a point for each person that I did find. I know, so it's got those nice little give and take, little meaty decisions. Again, it's only 6 turns, so it's not a heavy deduction betting bluffing game. It's small. It reminds me a lot of Clue, and I enjoyed that growing up. So for some, it'll be too light. For my kids, they kind of liked it. I thought they would like it a lot more. Made me a little bit sad. They haven't played Clue, so they don't know that whole deduction. They didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but I think it's a solid little family weight game. So if you're a fan of Clue, not a fan of dice rolling, and you just like that whole little deduction, I say check out Museum Suspects. It's solid. I'm going to give it a 75% chance meeples because I did enjoy it. So 75% chance meeples for Museum Suspects. My name is Brent. Check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with a Chance Meeples. Remember, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a chance meeples.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to grab your umbrella because the forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.